trying to get the streaming working. Having difficulty with that. I got a message from Lee saying he was doing contesting and he wouldn't be with us tonight. KD7QKU.
Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 434 megahertz. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images of 1.2 gigahertz. So before our net gets underway on the 08 repeater, we'll take a pause in case somebody needs to make a contact or has emergency traffic. None. So far we got Ron, KD7QKU, checked in, and Ron also mentioned that M7QO had checked in, and I see a WW7N. Anybody else like to check in? None. Let's get the net rolling. Let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, KD7ZYM in the group KD7QKU. Well, I might have been mistaken about N7QO. I might have saw him on the streaming from long past, past some other time. I thought I saw Gary on there too on streaming. It's froze up for me. I'm having difficulty making it work, or it's got a terrible latency. I see Dave on there now. So anyway, I've been watching the football game here between Notre Dame and USC, and it's Notre Dame 17, USC 10, and it's in the fourth quarter, I guess. So anyway, USC did lead the first half, but Notre Dame came back. Anyway, we'll see what happens, I guess. So, I guess back to net, KD7QKU. KD7QKU, report on your signal. I'm getting a little interference tonight. Earlier, it locked on pretty good. I've got about a P, I'd say 4+, but there's a little bit of interference in the picture coming back down on 1.2. Antenna moved a little more than it should have with the recent wind that we have. So let's go on to WW7N. James.
Good evening, Dave. Let's start off with an audio signal check. Can you hear me all right?
Let me take my earplugs out. You're coming in pretty good.
Okay, well, I'm trying a couple hundred milliwatts tonight, see how that does. And let me get a regular picture on. Oops, wrong switch. Okay, one thing I noticed about this repeater, I really appreciate them having it going here, but it certainly does take a while when you push the push to talk to kind of lock up. Oops. Okay, trying a little different lighting tonight. Looks like I'm in dark shadow tonight. Show you tonight that I've never seen before, and we'll give you the close camera view and see if you can identify here. And that says Johnson Level and Tool Manufacturing Company. And so here's the close pic of it. Made in USA, so you know it's got to be old. The back is just blank. I thought I would kick off with that to start tonight. Put in some work at Rent and Fish and Game today, and had overall just a great day. It certainly is, the temperature's dropped. I guess it's supposed to get around 35 degrees where I'm at tonight, and I don't know how long I'll be able to keep the video signal going because I got a window cracked to let my heart line out. So anyway, that's it for me this round. WU7M, back to net.
WU7N, looks like a metal yardstick. Anyway, I believe that's it. I've got one very similar to that. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM, beautiful Lake City. Oh my gosh, it's a little bit on the chilly side outside today. Hopefully that'll get a little bit better. I'm showing 44 degrees outside. My shack is a little bit warmer than that. It's about 66 degrees, so it's pretty comfortable inside. Didn't do any yard work today, but domestic chores called my attention at the household today. As for yesterday, I had an enjoyable dinner at Ron's house, sort of a post-Thanksgiving, and that was enjoyable, and watched the WSU and UW game, and wow, the snow really was coming down. It almost made the pictures kind of hard to see where the action was going. The snowflakes were almost bigger than the players on the field at times. So anyway, that's what I've got for this round. And let's go up to Ron again, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave, KD7QKU, and good evening to James. Well, yeah, it looked like some kind of a yardstick. I don't know if it was metal or wooden. Maybe you said and I didn't pay attention. My streaming is not working, or I can't make it work. Maybe I'm going to see yeah, there I see myself. I've been seeing old pictures on streaming. I've been seeing Gary on there, but I didn't see James. Now I see myself, but I don't know if it's current or old. I don't know. I'll do like Lee does. I'll put my hand up and then see if eventually I see my hand. No, I don't. Did I? I don't know. Oh yeah, I see my hand. I think. Well, anyway. Yeah, I know Dave was over here last night. We watched the game. And it was kind of funny. We watched the snow, and we all felt like it was snowing here. And we felt like we should look out the window and the ground should be all white. It's funny how that works. So I really don't have much to report. I watched a bunch of football today. I hardly went out of the house. So I don't know what to see. It sounds like you worked, James, a little bit. So anyway, I talked to a few people on the phone, but that's about it today. So anyway, I guess I'll just send it back. KD7QKU.
87QKU, this is KD7ZYM. Well, let's go on down to WU7N.
Actually, Ron, I counted about 7 seconds of delay time on my internet connection here, 7 or 8 seconds. So I don't know if that helps you or not. Your signal and Dave's is just absolutely superb coming over. My own loopback signal, I guess I'm about a 3 or a 4 tonight. I don't know what the problem is, but I'm not really doing that great. My loopback signal I just lost and then regained just now a signal, and I'm getting occasional herringbone cross patterns on my own video. Yeah, that's a metal yardstick, and I've seen all sorts of metal rules for machining purposes with various kinds of attachments to them over the years in machine shops. They're typically no longer than a foot or so. There's just other better ways to measure things at machine shops when you start to get beyond 6 inches, I think. But I've never seen a metal yardstick delineated in inches, and I think that's down to like maybe 1/8 of an inches. I've got several wooden yardsticks, a couple of which I got for free when someplace opened up. They were giving away free yardsticks, but I've never seen a metal yardstick before. That's a new one on me. Well, anyway, this house, I should have taken a picture before I took it off. Had some really interesting pegboards. That, normally you have tools hung on them, and they're kind of like tool boxes, at least for me, if you don't keep them extremely organized. You can't find anything on them, and that's what these were like. They were just lots and lots of pegs with just this potpourri of various tools and little hardware bubble packs of odd screws and things like that. And the person who's cleaning the house out said I could have it. So I got a giant tub and just started cleaning off. And first of all, it took a lot longer than I thought it would. And secondly, I ended up with a lot more than I thought I would. And it'll be interesting to see if I can come up with some way to catalog or categorize all this stuff. Otherwise, it will be as useless to me. It will be as useless to me as it was to him. I'm not sure what the difference is in having something in a box or something buried in a drawer and having it on a pegboard that's got multiple layers on it and you can't find anything. Lesson to us all. Anyway, that's it for me. WW7ATS, back to net.
And this is Dave, KD7CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Take a break if anybody else would like to join the net this evening. Hearing none. Boy, the signal coming back on 1.2 is a little sporadic. It was a little calmer about a half hour ago. That generally indicates there's quite a bit of wind flexing the antenna up on the mountain this evening, so that might be what's it. The picture comes in, it's fairly stable. Ron's picture was really breaking up, coming back on 1.2. That was received at my place here in Lake City. And WU7N, your picture was outstanding on the streaming, but a little sporadic on the 1.2 that I was watching tonight. So anyway, I guess Turkey Day is over, and I guess the Black Friday and Saturday, and I guess maybe we have Sunday left for the bargain hunters. What is it, Monday, we get Cyber Monday that comes on for the internet. And today I was having a problem printing my wireless printer. I don't know what was going on. I tried to print out some email, and I could get logos, and I'd get about the first 4 words of a document and about the last 2 words on a document, but no text in between. So I went troubleshooting for that and found a new set of drivers and loaded those down, and it seems to be functioning fine now. So anyway, that was a journey. It was kind of interesting when you get the drivers down. I've got an Epson printer, and it printed out a page. It had all kinds of text color on it and said, "Congratulations, you made the loop." And from then on, I was able to print anything from the emails that worked out. So I guess you got to keep current with drivers. However, this printer does have software on my computer that does updates periodically. And I don't know, maybe I missed an update or something, but got that all done. And once that was installed, it was about 10 minutes later, it said it had another update. So I did that, went back, and everything seems to be printing good there. So, who knows? Computers, printers, Wi-Fi, trying to get it all synchronized is kind of fun at times. And this is Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you, Dave. KD7QKU here. Yeah, well, that's too bad you had a printer trouble, but I'm glad you got it resolved. We have basically almost the same printer as you do. We bought it about the same time. It's a little lesser model. It's a little less expensive, I think, than yours. Well, I guess I failed to, you were talking about temperature. I got 41.5 here. It's definitely cooler this evening than it was last night. And, we had a nice Thanksgiving. We spent it in Auburn at my son's house. There was about 9 or 10 of us. His mother and father-in-law was there. His wife's brother and sister. And that's always nice to see them. We hadn't seen them for a little while because the last couple of years we've been spending Thanksgiving with my other son and his wife's family. So this time we went the other way. And I got a few texts from Ron. He was over at his cabin. They had Thanksgiving at the cabin in Plain. They had a little bit of snow on the ground. Then this morning, he sent some pictures of turkeys that were strutting around in his yard. So he said, "Wouldn't you know, they're pretty smart." So he's saying that I guess they disappeared on Thanksgiving Day. So I trust you had a good Thanksgiving, James, and darn it. Be nice to have some other folks join us. We haven't heard from Bob for a long, long time. So maybe he gave up ATV, I don't know. It'd be nice to have Jim in 7QO. I expected him last time. I really expected him this time. I thought maybe he was home this weekend. But he could be busy. All right. I don't have much more to say, so I'm sending it back. Back to net, KD7QKU.
7QKU. This may be abbreviated net this evening. We'll see how long the fire keeps burning, so to speak. Let's go to WU7N.
Hey, Dave. Let's see. I tossed the weather up, but as I can see, I'm just kind of curious to know. I'm getting about an 8 to 10 second delay on streaming, and I'm curious to know if when it comes in on streaming, nope, it's not readable there either, is it? Anyway, I'm curious if you expand it enough. I'm wondering if it's possible to get something that's readable at 250%. It looks like that's almost readable. You can at least see the words detailed forecast. On this is on Monday. It looks to me like it's supposed to get very windy with gusts as high as 20 miles an hour and rain 80%. And I'm probably the reason for that because I'm going to be working between a garage and a truck outside, so I probably caused that weather to happen. I noticed tonight when I was just looking at the radar image there, it looks like these Straits of Juan de Fuca, Forks, and maybe Port Angeles are going to get some real interesting weather. I don't know how that affects Lee's HF contesting tonight or not. But one thing I've always wanted to try on the higher bands, like 50 megahertz and 2 meters and 400 megahertz, is I've always wanted to do meteor scatter with somebody and also see if I could ever bounce a signal off any thunderstorm cells. Ham radio operator I know that's inclined to that kind of thing would be Lee up there to the north. Don't know anybody else who's into that kind of thing. I've never tried satellites either, so I'm curious to know if you guys have ever done any of that kind of thing. Certainly getting a little chilly in the room here, so I'll go as long as you guys want to go here. This is James, WU7N, and let me turn it back to net.
WU7N, yes. I talked to the International Space Station once, and that was sort of a very fast thing. I picked him up over crossing the boundaries between California and Oregon on the west coast, and had a QSO that lasted about 10 seconds, and by that time they were over Alaska and gone, so we were able to exchange names and call signs and good wishes on their trip, and it was like gone. So anyway, it does work, and it's hard to believe that you can get a signal like 250 miles straight up to get a very clear communication. So that was one of the achievements that I achieved, and actually got a QSL card on it, QST, and I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, I got a card from the person aboard, and that was kind of interesting if you figured the time involved for that short spurt of communications. This was a Somalian millionaire that paid to go aboard the International Space Station. I figured out our little QSO with his millions of dollars down probably lasted in the range of, I think I calculated out about $7,000 in time that he spent aboard. So anyway, that's what's happening here. So let's move up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thanks again, Dave. KD7QKU here. I have never done that. My brother did like you did, Dave. He talked to him. My brother was a ham, and he had a QSL card. He was quite proud of it. He had it posted on the wall of his radio room. And so I don't know, James. I haven't bounced any signals off that I know of either. So you just have to try it. And all those nuts and bolts and all that stuff you're getting, comes in quite handy. Sometimes when you're building stuff, you don't have to run to the hardware store. You can kind of dig in there and find a few things. I know I've had a bunch of nuts and bolts and screws and stuff that sort of had in some little drawers over the years, and every time I take something apart or make something or buy something new, it seems like I always have a few screws left over, so I add them to the pile. Oh my goodness. I just fumbled the ball. Anyway, Notre Dame's just scored again a minute ago, so now it's 24-10. It's a minute and 17 seconds, and it looks like SC had the ball, but he fumbled it, so anyway, I'm afraid SC's going to lose. That's too bad. It looked pretty good in the beginning of the game. Alrighty, I don't know, James, you seem to be the entertainment for the evening, showing us the yardstick and talking about a few things. So I guess I'm just sending it back, KD7QKU, back to them.
KD7QKU, this is KD7ZYM and the Western Washington Amateur Television Net on the 08 repeater. Let's go on to WU7N.
I agree with you, Ron. Sometimes it can be really handy to have that stuff around. The trick, I think, is cataloging it in such a manner that if you know a project needs a certain kind of nut or bolt or screw, somehow you know kind of where to go. And I found the Harbor Freight, when they sell those, they put them on sale occasionally, stove bolts and things like that. Those are in little containers, and so you know roughly what size you need. But it always seems like mine, whenever I pull something out of there, it's always a quarter of an inch too short. That's impressive. I've heard of people, I think there's some sort of an automated package kind of thing on the space station, and I don't know whether it goes all the time or exactly how, whether that's still up. I actually read about that in an old ham radio for dummies copy, but it's probably 10 years out of date. But I've heard of people doing that, but I've never actually heard of anyone talking like you have. Yeah, the idea of off of meteors and thunderstorm cells. I've never done it, just read about it. It seems intriguing. I know the military, there was a company in Kent that was selling a system to the military that actually, and I don't really understand how this technology worked, but it was somewhere around 50 megahertz, and they were using micrometeorites, which apparently, if there's dust and garbage constantly coming into the atmosphere, both day and night, and it was a burst system where somehow it would check to see if it could talk to a station out there somewhere, but as soon as it got the tiniest little piece of garbage, interstellar garbage hitting the atmosphere, an ionizing little piece, it would just go super fast and burst out information. I'm not quite sure what the military application for that would be, but they had quite a few people employed at this place making these units, and that was, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, the time flies. And then for some reason the contract died or something, because I know some people were being laid off. I guess it's ham radio operators that have been doing that with the big meteoroid showers that come through several times a year, and I missed the last one. It was just a couple weeks ago. I couldn't get a decent antenna up. So I'm going to have to do more research on that. I assume there's calling frequencies and things like that, very specific protocols you would use during a major meteor shower there to see who you could hear and who you could call out to. Anyway, that's it for me on this round. This is James, WW7ATS with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, and I think I'll turn it back to you, Dave, Net Control.
WU7N, well, always good to have a box full of parts. I've got I don't know, I picked it up years ago. They're little trays that are about 2 inches wide and maybe about 1 inch tall and 4 inches deep. And there must be 24 in each one of the parts that clamp together. And I've got those full of nuts and bolts and springs and all kinds of things. The good news is you can kind of look through the clear plastic to see what's in the contents on the face, so saves a lot of time. So, you know, you got different sizes, nails, you got bolts and nuts, big nuts, molly mounts, springs, and then 2 drawers that are just junk parts, little pieces that have come off of things that I've taken apart through the years. You know, and every once in a while, I find something I can use. I've had a couple of lawnmowers that have lost some nuts and bolts, and I was able to get into that sort of scrap box area and find the parts that I needed. And for James, with that yardstick that you had, the one I've got has metric as well as US on it, so that was kind of interesting. I didn't notice if yours had the metric on it or not. And, boy, you know, I'm just kind of running out of words, so I don't know how much farther we want to go. So let's go up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, KD7QKU here again. Well, SC just got a touchdown, and they kicked an extra point, so now it's 24-17. 48 seconds left, and they're going to have to kick off to Notre Dame. Well, let's see, it's just 41 degrees now. It's dropped a half a degree while we've been talking. I could say 73 real easy, I guess. Don't have a whole lot. It goes around so quick, I don't have time to think. Like I say, James is the one that's keeping us entertained tonight. It was a onside kick and Notre Dame recovered. So they'll probably just run out the clock. So they're going to win the game. So, let's see. I think they're talking about some rain on Monday. Quite a bit of rain, in fact. I guess the next thing I have to do, I have a couple of things to do here. Actually, probably 3 things now. I got to cut off the dahlias and cover those up with some mulch so they don't freeze. Probably winterize the motorhome. And now we're headed towards Christmas. I'll have to put up some outside lights, so I'll have a third thing to do then. So, anyway, my wife loves Christmas, so she'll got a ton of boxes to go through and try to decide what she's going to put up this year. So it's usually sort of the same thing. So anyway, Christmas is a nice season. All right, so I guess back to Dave, unless he wants us to have a 73 round KD7QKU.
Running low on verbiage here. Let's go to James, WU7N, and maybe we'll start a round of closing up the net.
Hey guys, you know, I don't know what we did before the internet because the yardstick, to answer your question, Dave, it doesn't have metrics, but I thought this was kind of interesting. I'll see if I can get a shot here. It's on one end, it's or one half of it, it says 8 on this end, and then the other end, it says, I'm trying to get it, I can't quite get it in focus. It's the nature of the beast here. It says 1/16, and I noticed there was a barcode, and again, it's not being very cooperative here. But there's also a part number, J36400554. That in to see what I would get. So apparently, no, this is not metric. One side is 1/8 of an inch, and the other half is 1/16 of an inch. But then that barcode got me thinking that this can't be as old as I thought it was, because they did not commonly put up barcodes on stuff. Just typed it in, and son of a gun, Home Depot actually sells this model. And so this isn't that old. This is something that I guess the whopping value of this find is $2.80. Would have guessed it was more money than that too. I'm kind of surprised it's that cheap. So anyway, so much for this net's incredible. Kind of interesting how some things, when they get converted on over, they change colors in the conversion process. Those are bright orange on my 1.2 megahertz, but they're very light orange on my computer. Anyway, well, that's what I found. The latest thing I've got. There's actually several other kind of odd items. I'm not quite sure what they are, and I'll have to dig them out. Dave, in regards to your printer, I was given a Hewlett-Packard printer a couple years ago, and I realized as I'm cleaning my own home out here, I've got to get rid of this, strip it down for parts, and throw it away. Why, you ask? Interesting thing about that Hewlett-Packard printer, I guess it's just legendary on the internet. It was a software disaster, and if you tried to software reset it, you just killed the brains of the printer, and there was no way anyone had found so far to resurrect it. And I got on the ever helpful internet, looked for various ideas and such on how to try and do a software reset, but it just turned the thing into a giant lump of plastic and parts, causing me never ever again to want to buy a Hewlett-Packard printer. Fortunately, this one was free, but man, would I have been upset if I'd actually paid money for it. So anyway, I'm glad you were able to get your printer to work again with the right drivers. So this is James, WU7N, turning back to Dave. What do you want to do here?
This is Dave, KD7ZYN. Well, we survived a little more than a half hour. I'll just set it back. Is there anything from anyone? And we'll be looking forward to everybody on the next net.
Coming out tonight. I always enjoy chatting with you. WU7N.
WU7N, and Ron, are you still hanging in, or have you gone away?
Yeah, I'm just going to say 73s is nice hearing from everybody, and have a good rest of the weekend, and I suppose we'll see you on Wednesday night. So good night all. KD7QKU clear. Bye-bye.
Thanks for KD7QKU, WU7N joining the video net this evening. We'd like to thank the owners and operators of the 08 machine, SeaTac Repeater Group, to allow us to use the 08 machine for our voice channels, for our video chit chats. So we got audio is not carried by our repeater for video at this point. We do have facilities to add video with our transmissions that go up. However, that creates a very bad herringbone pattern. And so the alternative is to use a 2-meter repeater as we're transmitting our video up on 70 centimeters. We have to pick a 2-meter repeater for our voice communications because that would overload and damage the receiver and transmitters by overloading them with the antennas being so close on the 70 centimeter band. So much for that. So with that, I'll be signing off this evening at 2035. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, and we'll be back on Wednesday and Saturdays between 8 and 9. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, good evening all.
Check, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, WU7N.
Thank you.